the day I found out my sister stole my company. I was standing in line at a coffee shop in Seattle, Washington, staring at an email that didn't make sense. Ownership updated, confirmation complete. I hadn't updated anything. My name is Olivia Carter. I'm 34 years old, born and raised in Seattle. And until 6 months ago, I was the founder and sole owner of Carter Creative Studio, a boutique branding agency I built from my kitchen table. 10 years of deadlines, 10 years of ramen noodles and unpaid invoices. 10 years of believing family meant loyalty. My younger sister, Megan, joined the company 3 years ago. She said she wanted to learn from the best. I believed her. I gave her access to everything: bank accounts, client contracts, administrative permissions. She handled operations while I focused on creative direction. We were unstoppable, or so I thought. That morning, my attorney's name was CC'd on the email. I stepped out of line and called him. "Olivia," he said carefully, "did you authorize the transfer of majority shares to Megan Carter?" My stomach dropped. 6 months ago, Megan insisted we streamline our filings. She'd sat beside me at my desk, guiding me through online forms. "Just log in," she'd said casually. "I'll handle the rest." I had trusted her. "Olivia," my attorney continued, "there's more. She also filed a resolution removing you as acting CEO." I couldn't breathe. "You're no longer in control of your own company." I hung up and immediately called Megan. She answered on the third ring. "Hey Liv, what's up? What did you do?" Pause. "I don't know what you're talking about." "The ownership transfer, the CEO removal." "Don't lie to me." Another pause. Longer this time. Then she sighed. "You were drowning, Olivia. The company needed stronger leadership." "Stronger leadership?" My voice cracked. "It's my company." "Was," she corrected gently. "It was your company." The softness in her voice hurt more than shouting would have. "You forged my authorization." "No," she said smoothly. "You gave me access. You trusted me." My knees felt weak. I leaned against the brick wall of the coffee shop. "You stole from me." "I saved the business," she snapped. "You were too emotional to scale it." "I built it from nothing, and I made it profitable." Her tone changed, colder, sharper. "You can stay on as creative director. I'll keep you on payroll. But ownership? That's mine now." Payroll. My own sister had reduced me to an employee in the company I sacrificed my 20s for. "I'm not staying," I said. "That would be a mistake." "Why?" "Because if you walk away with nothing." I hung up. For the first time in my life, I understood something ugly and clear. Megan hadn't helped me build a business. She'd studied it, and now she believed she'd won. What she didn't know was this: she had underestimated her big sister, and I was about to remind her exactly who taught her everything she knows. I didn't storm into the office. I didn't scream, and I definitely didn't beg. Instead, I showed up Monday morning at Carter Creative Studio like nothing had changed. Megan was already there, sitting in my glass office. "Olivia," she said, flashing a polished CEO smile. "Glad you decided to stay." "For now," I replied calmly. Her eyes narrowed slightly. She thought I was defeated. That was her first mistake. Over the next 2 weeks, I played the role perfectly. I attended meetings. I pitched campaigns. I congratulated her in front of the team. Meanwhile, I started collecting evidence. I met with my attorney again. The digital authorization Megan filed had been submitted from the office IP address at 11:47 p.m. I was in Portland that night at a branding conference. I still had the hotel receipt, the Uber logs, the time-stamped Instagram story. She hadn't just manipulated paperwork. She had impersonated me. But proving digital fraud isn't simple. It's expensive and slow. So I decided to hit her where she least expected it. Clients. Carter Creative Studio wasn't built on contracts. It was built on relationships. And every major account? They were mine. I started having quiet lunches, coffee meetings, creative check-ins. Not to complain, to listen. 3 of our biggest clients mentioned something interesting. Invoices had doubled in the past month. Retainers renegotiated without their approval. And the tone of communication had shifted. More aggressive, less collaborative. That wasn't my brand. That was Megan's. Then came the final gift. One of our long-term clients forwarded me an email Megan had sent. In it, she wrote, "Now that I've fully taken control of the company, we're restructuring leadership to eliminate emotional decision-making." Emotional decision-making. She meant me. But what she didn't realize, she had just admitted in writing that control had recently shifted. Control I never consented to. I forwarded the email to my attorney. "This helps," he said. "It's not enough," I replied. "Then what's the plan?" I looked out at the Seattle skyline through the office window that used to be mine. "She wants to be CEO?" I said quietly. "Fine, let's see how she handles what's coming. Because Megan may have stolen my title, but she had no idea. She was about to inherit something far more dangerous than a business. She was about to inherit my silence and my strategy. Megan loved control, so I gave her all of it. I stopped correcting her in meetings, stopped fixing her rushed proposals, stopped smoothing over her sharp emails before they reached clients. Within a month, the cracks began to show. 2 mid-level designers quit, quietly telling me on their way out, "It doesn't feel like your company anymore." It wasn't. Megan had shifted everything: pricing, tone, even the mission statement. She rebranded us as aggressive growth architects. That wasn't Carter creative. That was ego with a logo. Meanwhile, my attorney dug deeper into the digital trail. The login used for the ownership transfer had bypassed our usual two-step verification. "Someone disabled it," he said. "Only 2 people had administrative access. Me and Megan." Then I got lucky. Our bookkeeper Janice asked to meet off-site. We sat at a quiet cafe near Pike Place Market. She looked nervous. "Olivia, I don't think everything's clean." She slid a folder across the table. Inside were expense reports Megan had approved for herself. Luxury client entertainment at 5-star restaurants. First-class flights to New York. Labeled as expansion strategy, a consulting retainer paid to a shell. LC registered under Megan's fiancé's name. Misuse of company funds. Serious misuse. "Why show me this?" I asked. Janice swallowed. "Because you built this place, and it's not right." I felt something shift inside me, not anger this time. Clarity. Megan hadn't just stolen ownership. She was bleeding the company dry. That night, I went home and pulled up the original operating agreement. There it was. A clause Megan had overlooked. If a majority owner engaged in financial misconduct that endangered the company, minority stakeholders could file for emergency injunction and temporary control pending investigation. She thought she was untouchable with 60%. But greed makes people sloppy. The next morning, I walked into the office early. Megan breezed in at 9, coffee in hand. "We just landed a 6-figure account," she said proudly. "See? This is what leadership looks like." I smiled. "Funny you mention leadership." Her smile faded. "What does that mean?" "It means," I said calmly, sliding a thick envelope across her desk, "you've just been served." Her face drained of color as she read the court heading. "Emergency injunction, financial misconduct, forensic audit." "You're bluffing," she whispered. "No," I said softly. "You stole from the wrong sister." For the first time since this started, Megan looked afraid. The hearing was scheduled fast 10 days. Emergency injunction cases move quickly when financial misconduct is involved. My attorney filed in King County Superior Court, and once the forensic audit request hit the system, Megan stopped smiling. At the office, she tried to act unbothered. "Don't panic," she told the team during a staff meeting. "This is just a minor legal misunderstanding." Minor. 2 designers avoided eye contact. Janice wouldn't look at her at all. That afternoon, Megan cornered me in the hallway. "You're going to destroy the company out of spite," she hissed. "I'm protecting it." "You're jealous." I almost laughed. "Of what?" "The debt you've buried under fake consulting fees." Her expression cracked for half a second. So she knew I knew. "You don't have proof," she said. "I don't need all of it. Just enough." And we had enough. The forensic accountant my lawyer hired moved fast. Within a week, we traced over $186,000 in questionable transfers. The LLC registered to her fiancé. It had no employees, no deliverables, just monthly payments labeled strategic advisory. It was siphoning money. Then came the email that sealed it. Megan had forwarded confidential client pricing models to her fiancé's consulting firm. The metadata showed edits from his laptop. Conflict of interest. Corporate breach. The morning of the hearing, Megan didn't look polished. She looked tired. Across the courtroom, she avoided my eyes. When the judge reviewed the preliminary findings, The room felt frozen. "These allegations are serious," he said. "Pending full investigation. Temporary operational control will revert to the original founder, Miss Olivia Carter." Megan's attorney objected. The judge didn't flinch. "Miss Carter will resume acting CEO immediately." Just like that, the title she stole came back. But it didn't feel like victory yet. Afterward, Megan caught up to me outside the courthouse. "You could have handled this privately," she said, voice shaking. "You could have not stolen from me." Tears filled her eyes, not remorse. Fear. "You're ruining my life." I looked at her calmly. "No," I said. "You did that the moment you thought I was weak." I walked down the courthouse steps into the gray Seattle drizzle, inhaling deeply. For the first time in months, I felt steady. But I wasn't done, because temporary control wasn't enough. I didn't just want my company back. I wanted the truth on record. And Megan was about to learn the difference between ambition and greed. Temporary control turned into something much bigger. The full forensic audit took 6 weeks. 6 long, brutal weeks where every invoice, every transfer, every consulting payment was dissected line by line. The final number? $312,000 misappropriated. When the official report landed on the judge's desk, it wasn't just financial misconduct. It was fraud. Megan's fiang dissolved the Shell LLC within days. Too late, the paper trail was airtight. At the final hearing, the courtroom felt colder than before. The judge didn't waste time. Based on the findings of deliberate financial diversion and breach of fiduciary duty, he said, majority ownership is hereby revoked. Revoked. Just like that, the 60% she stole disappeared. Ownership reverted fully to me. But it didn't stop there. Megan was ordered to repay the misused funds. Assets were frozen. Civil penalties were attached. If she failed to comply, criminal charges could follow. Her attorney asked for leniency. The judge looked at Megan over his glasses. Family betrayal does not excuse financial crime. Silence swallowed the room. Outside the courthouse, reporters weren't waiting. There was no applause, no dramatic soundtrack, just rain. Megan stood a few feet away from me, hollow-eyed. "You didn't have to destroy me," she said quietly. I met her gaze. "You didn't have to betray me." There was nothing else to say. Rebuilding wasn't glamorous. Several clients had already left. Trust had to be repaired. Team morale had to be rebuilt. But this time, I did it differently. Stronger contracts, tighter controls, shared leadership with people who earned it. Carter Creative Studio didn't just recover. It evolved. A year later, we surpassed our highest revenue record. Not because of aggression, because of integrity. And Megan? Last I heard, she moved to Arizona, trying to start over. Her fianc was gone. The consulting firm investigated. I don't hate her. I don't even think about her much anymore. Because here's the truth about revenge. It isn't screaming. It isn't humiliation. It isn't destruction. It's standing firm when someone tries to erase you. It's knowing your worth when someone bets against it. She thought she could rewrite my story, but she forgot one thing. I wrote the original. And in the end, I wrote the ending too.